Yo guys, what is going on? Pandrea here. Welcome back to my channel. There are certain things in card magic that are very important. Now in this video we're going to break down some of the techniques that I use to move cards from the top to the bottom and vice versa, because I think that's very important to learn when doing card magic, because you never know what situation you will be in where you have to do these kinds of moves. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So one of the biggest strengths a magician could have, especially in card magic, is knowing how to manipulate the cards so that you can move cards around wherever you need them to be. For example, we all know how to take a card from the middle of the deck and control it up to the top using our favorite method, yes? And we all do that very well because we have our go-to controls and we know how to do that. But sometimes you're in the situation where you have a card, let's say on top, and you have to move it to the bottom for whatever reason, okay? Maybe you're jazzing and you don't know exactly what routine you're gonna do, and you have a card on the bottom and you have to move it to the top. Well, there has to be ways around that so you can do it without literally doing anything weird like that, because I've seen it happen before where you're like this and you need to get to the card on the bottom, so you're just like, you do that, right? And that's obviously very bad and very obvious to the spectator of what you're doing. So we're gonna have to figure out ways of how to do that without making it obvious. The first way that I like to do it is with an overhand shuffle, moving cards from the top to the bottom and the other way around. So let's take an example. For instance, let's say the 8 of hearts is on the bottom of the deck, okay? All you're gonna have to do is get into an overhand position, shuffle until holding back as many as you can until the very end, where at the end you just run the card to the top in singles, okay? And this takes a little bit to get used to, but it's very easy to run the cards, right, and do the overhand shuffle so that you're not getting to the end too quickly. And then from here you can go ahead and take off everything but one card. All right, so the easiest technique to do for that is to just come here about half the deck, another half, and then start doing it with the thumb, until you know you have a few cards left, and the thumb is just taking off one at a time until you get to that one card at the end, okay? And sometimes you're gonna get used to it so that you know to pull out that one card and keep it firm with this hand so it doesn't drop by mistake, okay? So there you have it. That's a very easy way to move the card from the bottom to the top. All right. Subsequently, you could also do it from the top to the bottom as follows, in a very easy overhand shuffle, where you're moving the cards from the top to the bottom, where you're just literally starting the overhand shuffle and using your thumb to take that first card, right, moving it to the left hand, and then shuffling off more cards afterwards so that you're moving it from the top to the bottom. Pretty basic, right? And very easy. So again, it's here, one card, and then do that. You want to do that one card relatively fast so that they don't see it that it's just a one card. So I like to kind of just do that, and then you're done. So if you have a card on the bottom or on the top and you just want to shuffle it back to the bottom, shuffle it back to the top, you can do this where you're alternating top, bottom, but you're still in control of the card. And I think that's really important, because if you do a control, right, and you have the card on top and you want to prove to them that it's somewhere lost in the center, you can definitely give it a nice shuffle like that, showing that the card is lost. All right, you could even at this point control it to the bottom and keep it on the bottom by holding with the fingers like that, putting pressure with the fingers, and now as you're going to shuffle, you're just slipping this like that, holding it on the bottom so that you know that it's still on the bottom, while dropping cards all over the place apparently. But you know that it's still gonna stay on the bottom while still shuffling the deck, okay? And only when you need to, if you need to, you can go ahead and shuffle it back on top so that the card is on top, okay? So in this way, you get to practice shuffling it to the top, to the bottom, to the top, to the bottom. And for some reason, I can't shuffle these days, but that's basically it, okay? Shuffling it to the top, to the bottom. And I guess the more messy it looks, the better, that they really think that it's going to be lost in the pack, but in fact, it is controlled the whole time. Okay, the second way to move a card from the top to the bottom and vice versa is to use a double undercut. Now, a double undercut looks like this, where you're cutting the deck. It looks like you're cutting the deck, but that is a false cut. You're not moving any of the cards around, so you're just literally, it looks like you're cutting, but you're putting the deck back into the same order. So a double undercut looks like this, a false cut rather. So you're gonna kick about half the deck up from the right hand with your first finger into the left hand like that. So you're swing cutting or kick cutting like this. okay? Into the left hand, you're placing this packet, which was on the bottom, on top now, holding a break. Now you're going to, from here, cut about half of the bottom packet with the left hand, cut half of the bottom packet, move it on top like this way now, and then come back for the rest, take everything below the break and then move it on top again, okay? So let's say there's a card on top here, you're doing this, you're doing that, and nothing has changed. It just looks like you're cutting the cards, right? Boom, boom. Alright, so it's a false cut. So knowing this, we can move the card from the top to the bottom using this procedure. So let's say that the card was on the bottom of the deck. You're going to get a little pinky break pull down of the bottom card. Alright, so you can do this in a few ways. You can literally just pull down with the pinky and get a break like that. Or with the right hand, and with this I don't suggest this because I hate when I see this happen when you're here, blah, 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 and then you get a break like that, okay? It's so unattractive to do that. So, but you can do that if this is what you're comfortable with. Just kick a card back and then get a break like that. Or you can do a spread and then at the end you can literally get your break off of that one card like that. So it's gonna be depending on the situation and the routine that you're in, what you're using it for. But there are a few ways just to get a card off the bottom in a break like that. Now what you're going to want to do is do the exact same thing, but now you're transferring it to a thumb break like that. So the pinky break in your right hand, in the left hand, is going to be transferred to a thumb break in the right hand like that. So now what you're going to want to do while in this position is start the false cut and move the card from the bottom to the top in the meanwhile. So as you're doing this, so you cut about, you know, half the deck, a little bit more, whatever, into the left hand. As you come back to complete the cut, what you're doing is you're dropping the right hand card, the card off the break, which was on the bottom, on the top packet of the left hand's packet, okay? So you're here, and as you come together, you're just dropping that card. So let's do it face up. You're dropping that card, and now you're holding a break now with the pinky, okay? Pinky or the thumb, it really doesn't matter. Now from here, you're gonna do the exact same thing, about half the deck from the bottom, half the cards from the bottom, move them to the top, and then the rest of the packet that's below the break, move it to the top, and you've done the deed of moving the card from the bottom to the top. So it's here, break, transfer, cut, cut, and you're there. Now I know what you're thinking, hey Alex, I want to take the top card and move it to the bottom without any suspicion, because a lot of the times you might control a card to the top and then say, oh, I need it for the bottom to maybe cop it out and palm it out, something like that. So it's going to be the same exact thing except in reverse. So we're going to do the double undercut, but just a little bit differently. So the card is on top. What you're going to do is you're going to get a break underneath the top card, either with a pinky break or just lift up on it, and ultimately you're going to want to transfer it to the thumb break like that. So you get that break over the top card. I'm going to exaggerate it just a bit here for the camera. And now from here, instead of doing the kick cut sort of technique that we did in the first one to get it from the bottom to the top, we are going to start cutting directly from the bottom. So you're going to take about, you know, maybe a third of the deck, start cutting it to the top this way, right? So we're taking with the left hand, grabbing the bottom packet, bringing it up to the top. Your first finger is coming out of the way if it is in the way. First finger comes out of the way, places it right here, and notice your thumb is still holding the break. Now what's going to happen is you're going to pick up a little bit more from the bottom packet, so another half of that, bring it up to the top, still keeping that break with the thumb in the back. And now you're lifting up everything below the break and bringing everything up on top, which brings the card to the bottom. Okay, very, very easy. So once again, ace of diamonds is here. Maybe I like to dribble and get a break this way so that it's not so suspicious instead of, you know, pushing off and doing that. Sometimes I like to just kind of do this and then get my break. From here, I transfer it to the thumb. From here, I lift up, boom. Keep the break, okay, and if your pinky has to go back in there, that's fine, but just as long as you keep transferring it to the thumb, keep cutting, and you can do this multiple times, as many times as you want, until you are satisfied. So that's just a nice way to get that card from the top of the deck to the bottom, just like that, okay? Easy peasy. So that's just a nice way to get the card from the top to the bottom. Get your break, go ahead, cut the deck, make it look like nothing is taking place, but you've just done this, okay? You can do it with the kick cut sort of way, I guess. It's not the best way to do it, but you can do this. Bring the card this way like you did in the first one, then get a break underneath, right? So break up the motions, grab everything, including the card, then do the same exact technique to get the card to the bottom, but that's just going to be based off of your preference. So again, you can do that and get the card to the bottom. Alright, the last way that I like to move a card around, and this only works really for the bottom to the top, is doing a sort of side steal type of manner. So if you don't want to do any cut procedure or shuffling at this point, you can make it look like nothing's happening as you put the deck down or something like that, where you do the move that way, and that's using sort of a side steal technique where you can come, grab the card, steal it off the bottom, and place it on top. You could also do it with a bottom palm sort of, but I like the side steal because you can chat, you can do whatever, talk to them, and at the right time just kind of do it, okay? So I'm gonna leave a link in the description below of the full video of me teaching the side steal the way that I do it with the pinky and everything, but a little overview right now is basically pushing the bottom card, okay, from the bottom to your right hand and clipping it between the pinky and the third finger, which is the ring finger, in this manner. So your hand is on top like that, and with the fingers of the left hand you're pushing out until you feel that corner go into the clip of these two fingers. Okay, now from here you want to keep your hand down, all right? You don't want to do this because that's going to allow this to flash a lot. So you want to keep your hand down as much as possible and keep pressure as much as possible until it finally clears. All right, use your thumb to grab it at this point if you feel that it's necessary. If you don't think that it's going to be held correctly like that, if you just feel it, then you can grab it with the thumb like this and then move it on top as you riffle. Okay, so that's just a very easy short description of what I'm doing. You're just here and you're here, but like I said, if you don't like to do any of the cuts or whatever as you're talking, you know, you have to move it from the bottom to the top. You can do that and place the cards down. One extra little tip that I have for you, a little bonus, is I like to do this as well, where I have the cards, let's say, on the table, and as I pick them up, I by mistake, but I'm obviously doing it on purpose, I'm just leaving that one card here on the table, okay, and I'm picking up the deck and then I'm repositioning, taking the card and placing it back on top, okay? And this is just something that, you know, it's very, very easy to do. So as the cards are on the table like this, and it's better with a mat, obviously, you could just spread them like this, and as you pick them up, you could just pick up the cards like that and move the one card to here. It's not very elegant, but if this is something that you're into, that sort of style, you can do it that way. Subsequently, if you want to place the cards onto the table, you could just deal them out like this as you talk and place the cards onto the table, and I've done that as well, just moving the cards to the top or bottom. And the reason for doing that is because sometimes it's easier to control a card to the bottom, yeah, but then for the effect you need it on top, or vice versa. So just keep that in mind when doing that. You never know which way you want to go, sometimes if you're jazzing with the effect, and these could be helpful. Alright guys, there you have it. That was the video. Thank you so much for sticking around and learning that. If you did enjoy this, and if you find some value in these videos that I'm doing here on YouTube, please go ahead and like the video. It does help the channel quite a bit, and subscribe if you haven't already. You definitely won't regret it because we have a lot of videos coming up and a few surprises along the way. So thanks so much guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Peace.